right, from an injury standpoint, Michael Carter with the back still will not participate. DJ Reed with the groin will not participate as well. Morgan Moses with the knee. Tyron, same as. Aaron Rodgers, the ankle. Conklin, the hip. No worse for the wear from last week. Will McDonald with the shoulder. Chaz has a heel that he had this past week. And Davante Adams had the hamstring. Okay.
So all those guys will not participate today.
It's a walkthrough for one, so Davante should be a participant in full capacity. Chaz, we're going to try to get through in a limited. Will's going to be able to participate as well. Conk is. Aaron will not. Tyron's taking his normal vet day, for his rest, and Morgan Moses will assess right now. So.
DJ?
He will not. He will not.
Is there a concern there? Because obviously that's always a tough injury with DJ.
Yeah, it is a concern, but we're fortunate to have great depth at that position. We are. So as much as that can give you some angst, it's also exciting from the standpoint you give another guy an opportunity. So we've been so fortunate this year to have Isaiah Oliver. He is this Swiss Army knife back there. He's been able to play safety, nickel, and corner without blinking. So. He's doing a good job.
So are any of those guys you listed, or any of them aside from DJ, are you concerned not being able to play this weekend? I know it's early, but...
No, Michael Carter will be the other one that probably won't make it, but the other ones, I'm fully confident all those guys will play.
So that includes Adams will play this weekend?
I think so, yep.
And Aaron, you said, I just want to be clear, not doing anything today.
Not doing anything today. No, other than he just did the walkthrough, and then for the PM, he'll do his normal process that he's done the last couple of weeks and work with the trainers. I think so. Yeah.
What's the process going to be like for incorporating Davante in a few days, pretty much?
It's a challenge for Todd Downing and the offensive staff, and getting him up to speed as fast as possible. Fortunately, there's a lot of familiarity with the offense, and it's been a system he's been a part of for years. So I don't foresee it being a huge obstacle getting him going and involved.
With Garrett, I know it was a different offensive staff because when Mike was here, but I remember you guys kind of talking about how you thought maybe where he could do the most damage was in the slot.
Yeah.
Do you now have the ability to do a lot more of that with Davante and Allen and Mike kind of manning those outside positions, and then Garrett can really do some damage?
Yeah, it's a really cool problem to have, and it's going to give us an opportunity to have more flexibility with where we move these guys around. And sometimes it'll be based upon the route concept, sometimes the matchups, but it gives us a lot of freedom to play around with where these guys line and just make sure we're just moving the target, as often as we can.
How much have you faced them in your career when they were in Green Bay?
Too many times. Yeah, I mean, we faced them last year in Vegas, and Davante at least, and
I mean, the two of them together.
Yeah, again, too many times. That COVID year was, he questioned my love for football that day. They did an amazing job. Their connection and their chemistry between the two of those guys is so unique. They spent so much time together for one, but for two, they're both like high football IQ guys that really can take their connection to another space.
Jeff, when you get a high-profile player like Davante, what's your procedure? I mean, do you introduce him to the team, or I know that sounds kind of silly, but do you introduce them in front of everyone, or how does that go when you welcome?
I didn't. It was pretty business as usual as far as that was concerned. Obviously the team knows who he is, and just integrating him as fast as possible into everything that we do. Fortunately, I've never met him prior to him coming in yesterday, and what an amazing human being. You never know what a superstar is going to be like. Sometimes, a little weird sometimes, and not at all. Just the humility I felt on him, the great teammate I felt on him, the love for football. I'm so excited to add this guy to our not just to the field as a player, but to the locker room from a culture standpoint.
Have you guys felt the need to have a conversation with Mike Williams? Because obviously he's a guy that this will kind of do his playing time, bringing in somebody like Davante.
As we go forward, talked to Todd about it yesterday and this morning, and fortunately, Todd is very good at marking the plays for certain guys and making sure that everybody has a part of this offense. So Todd is on it, and every guy will be integrated. Every guy will get his touches and his ops, and every guy will be featured at times.
As a defensive coach, what made Garrett so potentially dominant and challenging in the slot when he lines up inside like that?
Well, his movement is absolutely ridiculous. Like it doesn't make sense. The way that he can change direction, come out of breaks, the way that he can set you up. He's like an and-one basketball player in there. Like he's virtually an impossible cover, in my opinion, in one-on-one. You know, he's a problem. And now he's starting to get way more detail into everything that he's doing, learning the nuance of this game, and then his relationship with Aaron is going to a deeper level, just more time on task together. So it's really cool to see him growing and evolving as a football player. And as long as we see that, we're just going to see this guy just blossom into the superstar we know he can become.
As far as pass protection, obviously you have all these weapons, but if you don't protect Rodgers sufficiently, you might not realize the potential of all these weapons. Where do you think things stand with that? The other night, Vanessa had a big game, really not known as a great pass rusher. Where do things stand with the pass protection?
Well, I think part of that is just all of us just get a little bit better at what we do, you know, from a technical standpoint, but then also changing the target as far as protection is concerned. You know, sometimes it's jet, sometimes it's slide, sometimes we're chipping, sometimes we're not, you know, just keeping the defense off balance. And me and the offensive staff have had long talks regarding that. I know from a defensive perspective, when you face an offense where you can't predict the protections, it becomes a problem. Even if there's a guy you're trying to pick on, it becomes a problem.
With the Steelers, Russ Fields, like, how are you kind of going about planning for this? Because it seems
right.
like, I mean, they both have their strengths, but it seems like they can be a little bit of different players as well.
Yeah, I would say from the pass game perspective, not much will change. You know, Arthur Smith's his passing game is very conducive to an athletic quarterback, as we've seen over the years from Tannehill to all the guys that he's had. So from that standpoint, I don't see a whole lot of change. You know, where you have to account for Justin Fields is the scrambling and the quarterback runs, because he'll have designed runs that aren't necessarily Russell's forte. So having an answer for the quarterback runs, and then at times just accounting for this scrambler. And you can do that a lot of different ways. You know, whether you appoint a spy, a free player, you know, from a cover standpoint, you can create more vision where more guys are looking at them. But we have answers either way.
Can you talk about the challenge is trying to contain somebody like T.J. Watt?
Yeah, again, it goes back to moving the target. You know, sometimes chipping them, sometimes sifting them, sometimes cutting them, and just keeping them off balance. You know, he's a game wrecker, as we all know. He's one of the best players, one of the best defensive players in this league, and he's a generational talent. So you got to account for him every single play.
Jeff, as a defensive guy, when you have a team, you look at a team that has Aaron Rodgers, Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, Davante Adams, like, what would that do for a defensive coordinator or defensive coach?
Right. It would limit my sleep that week to virtually nothing. You know, because that's a problem. It's a real problem. You got a lot of talent, and guys what's cool is every guy is so unique to their own, and they have their own skill set and are a little bit different than the others. So you can attack in a lot of different ways.
Jeff, right after the trade, Garrett tweeted something like, "We gotta go and we gotta do it now."
Yeah.
Is that in everybody's eyes are on him? Because how's he going to react to the Davante trade? Is that attitude what you want to see, and is that him, or is that like the internal message about the sense of urgency that's got to happen right now?
I think it's both. You know, to see Garrett's, you know, evolution. Talked about the football player and how he's becoming so much more detailed with all the nuance and the details. But I'm really seeing an evolution into the leader he's starting to become. He's starting to get more comfortable in that role and start to really bring guys along with him. So I think that message was 100% just excited about bringing a new teammate that can absolutely help our offense and our team. And the truth is, it's going to help him. You know, when you got two receivers of that caliber out there, it's you got to pick and choose your poison and who you bracket and who you double and who you give help to and who you don't. You know, so it'll help both those guys.
How encouraged were you by the explosives the other night? I think it was 15 plays at 10 plus and 8 plays at 20 plus.
It's exactly what we had talked about before the game. You know, understanding really that the run game had to get it going, and with that, all that play pass, we created all this space on the second and third level of defense, and the offense took advantage of it. And that's got to become a trend that we just keep growing and getting better and better at every week. But again, everything, in my opinion, starts with that run game because it creates all that space that's necessary.
On the Bills' last first down, Allen went to the outside.
Yep.
I think you guys, they weren't going to throw it there. You're probably expecting him to become a runner. Clemens gets sucked in on the fake. is that core fundamental like him that he has to have the edge there?
Not necessarily. There's a couple layers to that, and I prefer just to keep that, to myself.
But he was okay. He didn't make a mistake.
He wasn't a mistake, no.
What do you anticipate for CJ this week in terms of playing time and role?
I hope, a lot of it, as a defensive coach, a lot of it's dictated by how the offense attacks you, so we're a little bit reliant upon the personnel groupings that we see because we match for the most part, so but what I do foresee is that it's more than last week. I thought last week was a great just get him warmed up, get him integrated again because he's missed quite a bit of time, and the healthier he gets, the more he'll play for us.
So you'll say when you, I guess, trot out two linebackers, he's going to be one of the two. CJ will, if that's the goal, once he's fully.
We'll see by the end of the week. A lot of this is how his body responds to more and more reps.
When he's fully healthy, it's not like he's now the sub linebacker or anything like that.
Yeah, when we get to that point, it's going to be a good conversation, because we've got three guys that we want to integrate and three guys we want to feature. So it'll be a good conversation when that comes.